She is the first woman to serve as the head of a major orchestra in the U.S., South America, Austria, and Britain. Marin Alsop broke the glass ceiling for so many women in classical music. Phil Lipof sits down with Marin and the director of the documentary, The Conductor, which showcases the challenges of being a woman in classical music.
I went to my violin teacher and I said, you know, I saw this amazing conductor and I'm going to be the conductor. And she said, and girls can't do that.
Being the first is a tough job. And I think this is why she's fighting so much for us.
When did you first understand that you wanted to do this?
My parents were both professional musicians, so I had to become a musician. So there was no getting out of that. So that was a given. And I played piano and then I played violin, but it was really when I went to a concert and I saw this conductor, Leonard Bernstein, and he was so charismatic and so engaged and so communicative. I thought, okay, I can do this classical music thing because this guy's having fun. So I have to be the conductor. It wasn't until I was in my 20s that I could start to really get something going in terms of that. And, you know, it was a challenging road because it's challenging regardless. But in those days, you know, there are very, very few women. And I couldn't get into school because, you know, conducting is tricky because unless you have experience, you can't get exposure, but you can't get experience unless you do it.
In the documentary, you say, don't tell me I can't do something. And I mean, your credentials go on and on and on. The first woman to serve as the head of a major orchestra in the United States, South America, Austria, and Britain. I mean, you were ahead of your time when you said that, but I think a lot of people are being taught now to say, don't tell me I can't do something. What does that phrase mean to you?
This idea of telling someone they can't do something is so debilitating and so controlling and so manipulative. You can do anything you want to do. And I had parents like that as well, you know, and they were ahead of their time. But they said, okay, you know, if this is what you want to do, absolutely, you can do it. And it's so important for kids to have that, especially from their parents initially.
A hero and a teacher of yours said while listening to you conduct, and this is a quote, I don't get it. When I close my eyes, I can't tell that you're a woman. And that's the first thing I thought of when I heard your story. Music is music.
Gender is probably the least distinctive influencing factor. But I do think that, you know, it's more about leadership in that case when people are resistant to a woman on the podium. It's more about letting go of this archetypal image of what the conductor's supposed to look like. There's absolutely no distinction between men and women. You know, when Leonard Bernstein said that he couldn't tell I was a woman, I would have thought, now, is that a compliment? And what should I do? What should I say? But I understood that he was, you know, he was trying to wrap his mind around it because he was from a generation that never considered women in these roles. So he was just trying to get used to it.
You obviously know that you're an inspiration to many. You're a mentor. A lot of women hoping to become conductors. Instead of asking what you have taught them or what you tell them, have you learned anything from them?
I started a fellowship in 2002 for women conductors, and there are 30 recipients of the awards. And they are all really changing the world through music. They're trying to create equality. They're trying to create representation. They're trying to create opportunities.
What made you want to tell Marin's story?
Women's stories or in feminism. And as it turned out, you know, this is exactly my field. I was so taken by Marin's story, and I was so lucky to have access, you know, as a filmmaker to her here.
This documentary will empower women not just to be a conductor, but to be anything they really want to be. But why do you think it traditionally has been so hard and still is, in a way, hard for women to be the first?
Well, you know, so if somebody is in control, they're very unlikely to step back and say, you know, we've been in control for all this time, so now it's your turn. You know, they know the music and they receive the music and they admire the music, but they don't really know too much about what's behind the scenes. And I think here, particularly in the United States, that's the case, you know, because it is a very specialized art form. And I think the combination of the two makes for the fact that the sexism and misogyny is able to pass and to happen without people actually noticing.
What do you hope people get from Erin's story?
I really wanted to give my admiration for Marin and what she has accomplished in this discipline as a woman, but also really as a musician. I want them to, believe in themselves and be inspired to do whatever they want to do, as I'm sure Marin would say so. So this is not a film to make people musicians, but to believe in their passion.
What do you want young women to take away from your story?
I think the most important thing that I'd like to share is that perseverance, hard work, and really never taking no for an answer. If you can hang on to those things, you can succeed. It may be difficult and maybe a very hard path sometimes, but I always think if you're banging at the front door and they won't let you in, just sneak around the side and crawl in the window while they're not looking, and you will succeed.
I mean, that is advice to live by. Phil Lipof, thank you for that story.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.